Okay, so I wanted to make videos about my experience with human design. And I think this is such a good representation of, um, so I'm a 1-3 splenic projector, and I'm also a quad right. And so those are, I think, the areas that are going to be spoken about in these videos based on like this next subject that I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about different parts of my chart. But right here, so I was about to work out and I had this thought about, um, oh, and now I've forgotten it, but I had this thought about, okay, yes, it was about following your energy and knowing things that are right for you or correct for you and things that are not. And it's so funny. So I had this thought as I was like washing my face. And then just from the time it took me to, and I was like almost like ready for the day. And I'm like, okay, this is the perfect time. Instead of going to work out, I'm just going to set my phone up on my foam roller and I'm going to record this video because the splenic part of me, like my authority, it's fast, it's immediate. And I find that when I have ideas to do something, I have kind of like this threshold of inspiration and energy. And so whenever I immediately take action within that window, everything works out so smoothly. Like it's like things that I would have to put so much effort into or just like be like stressed about or like not really know how I want to put it together. It's like it just flows out of me. And that happens for everything, like whether it's an idea for a post for like Instagram, or if it's like a caption I'm writing, or um, really like anything in my life, whether it's creative or whether it's action based, or even if it's something like around the house that I'm just like, if I have to like grab something from the garage or I have to, you know, whatever I'm doing, if I have the thought and I take action on it within this window, it goes so much smoother than if I wait. Because what happens when I wait is it's like I lose the like oomph behind it, Either I'm just like not interested in doing it anymore, like if it was something that was creative and I just don't feel that like same like draw or like inspiration towards it. And then it'll just kind of feel forced, and it's like really I'm not going to do it if it's feeling like I'm trying to do something. Like I want everything to be like authentic and organic and just like flowing naturally. And or it's just like if I do go forward on it, it's really not going to be as good. Like if it's like a video or something, it's going to just be like subpar. And then I'm going to look back on it and I'm going to be like, oh, well, maybe I'm going to like wait until I feel that same kind of like jolt of inspiration, because it'll come back around. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm doing my own experiment here. I'm not like a human design whatever. I'm a projector. I'm a line one. So everybody who knows about human design knows that projectors love to research things. We have like our categories of things that we're meant to learn about. Um, and I definitely applied that to human design, but I think that there's a lot of projectors on YouTube talking about human design, and you can tell that you're like, this is this person's like thing. And then, but for me, I don't think that it's my thing, and that's why I also want to make this video, because if I'm taking, let's say, these two categories. So I'm a certified personal trainer and I specialize in corrective exercise, which is perfect for being a projector. And like when I heard about projectors being meant to specialize, like being meant to be specialists, I was like, I'm on the right track. Like I've already been for how many years certified, and focused on this specialization. And I'm like, I love it. So, and that's the point. When I think about, you know, fitness or stability or, joint movements and like autoimmune conditions and things like that that are like health related, oof, that is my thing. Like the nervous system, digestion, like all of that, right? And then when I think of human design, I'm like, I love human design. I love this system. I love practicing with it. I love experimenting with it. But the thing that I want to say, and the thing that I realized about this that like helped me realize this was okay, so I like found human design in August of this like 2021, and it's now January 2022. And I, I was like researching everything I could, listening to all the videos on YouTube, reading articles, looking up all the elements of my chart, and then looking up all the elements of like my family and my friends' charts, right? And I think that's just kind of like the natural process. I don't know anybody who feels drawn to human design. I'm sure they go through that, but I think that like it's kind of a projector thing that you'll hear about it and it'll just resonate so deeply with you that you just want to know what the hell this thing is, and then also how it differs based on all the people in your life, right? So um the thing that really stood out to me was it was my friend's birthday in November. And so I'd been like learning about human design for a couple months. And I thought, oh, it would be like such a nice thing to do because I just like started talking to him about it. And he was like, oh, like that's, like super interesting. He's a generator. And I'm like, oh, just like put together a, what's it called? Oh, actually, see, I interrupted myself with my own thought, and I do that a lot. And, that's how she goes. But that was actually the second time I did it. The first time I did it was my brother's birthday in October. So I thought he was turning 30, and I'm like, this is the perfect thing to like give to him. And I just put together, I kind of wrote out some things of his chart, the things that are like the most common. And also that's the thing, being a 1-3, I'm like, I need to like put all this information in here. And then I would be like, oh my gosh, there's so much to know. And I'm really, you know, like out of my depths when it comes to this. I've only been learning about this for like such a short amount of time. But what I did end up doing was I made these videos. So I made different like groupings of videos, maybe like 4 of them. And they weren't even that long, but they were about different parts of his charts and things like that. And it was like leading up to making the video, and I was researching as much as I could, and I was like, okay, I need to learn about this gate, and you know what does these arrows mean, and blah 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 blah. And then I just, as a quad right, like I kind of like gather all my information, and then I can, like, it's best for me to just kind of press play and talk. And so I've in school I've done different things where I've like written out my entire script for a presentation, and unless I was like absolutely memorizing it verbatim or reading it, typically that was not the best like approach. But every time I've had a guideline and I've kind of been like, or I've had to like impromptu speak, that's like where I thrive. And that's what I'm doing right now. Like I had a thought and I have a few things that I want to speak about. Like I have, I want to talk about splenic projector. I want to talk about quad right. And I want to talk about following our energy for like activities that are correct for us, and that's all I have right now. I have these 3 topics. And so, talking about following our energy, leading up to that experience of making these videos, I felt like stressed, right? Because it was something that was a little bit unfamiliar. But the biggest indicator was when I, as I was making the video, like it's a little bit different because I normally will do like fasted exercise, and it's not for really any reason of like, oh, I've done this research and I'm going to do it because of that. Like, it is beneficial, obviously. There's research to support that fasting in the morning and exercising is good, for certain people, right? I will say that it's not good for everybody, but um, I kind of do it by accident because what happens typically in the morning is if I eat, then I'll get kind of distracted and I'll kind of, my momentum will slow down. And a lot of the time, I won't exercise. And so for me, it's kind of like that moment when I first start eating. It's almost like I like the chemistry in my body like shifts, obviously, but it shifts into kind of this like slower mode. Like I feel like I have more energy in the morning before I eat, and I almost feel like I'm more creative as well. And my digestion is like buzzing, nervous digestion. And so I think that that thing that I just explained would make more sense if I was kind of a different type of digestion. I can't remember which one it is, but I learned about it, and it was about like not really eating much during the day, and then maybe it was like the dark one, indirect light or something like that, and where you eat more of your food later in the day because when you have food in your body, it's actually like slows you down. But mine is not that one. So I'm not sure why it is, but like I said, I kind of found it by accident just because I really wanted to prioritize exercise, and I was finding that my whole life is about like, if you do this, then what happens, and then if you do that, then what happens. So I analyzed the algorithm, the formula, and I was like, so if I eat first thing in the morning, then I don't exercise, and if I don't eat first thing in the morning, then I do exercise. And so I keep going down this path, and it keeps working for me. So, um, but the thing I wanted to talk about for being aware of your energy and how much you have for each activity based on what's correct for you is, while I would be recording the video, so I wouldn't have eaten. That's the like point of saying all of this, is that I, um, you know, I don't have any food in my system. But what would happen is I would start to talk and I would start to get like super nauseous. And it was all like, it was because I had not eaten yet that day. But, and this is slightly different because I'm pretty close to like having just woken up. But I'm speaking about this from my own perspective, from like how it's relating to me and my experience, and then how that can relate to anyone who's watching this video, and then how they can apply it to their own experiences. Like if they have the same digestion as me, if they're also a splenic projector, if they have a one in their profile, or if they are a 1-3 themselves, or if you're also a quad right. And I'd love to like, if you have any similarities with me in my chart, like I'd love to chat, I'd love to just like, talk about how you experience that, because that's basically like the whole point of human design. You go, how are we different, right? But then there's similarities, and like how does that differ based on each person when it's the same in the chart? I think that's so cool, right? Um, and that's also, I'll talk about this in another video, but that's also in my chart. It's like my incarnation cross is like a right angle. So it's based on me having my own experiences. And I have a lot of individual energy channels in my chart. So it makes perfect sense that I have this like energy. And then here's the thing that really ties it all together is when I was doing these videos, I'm talking about the person's chart, right? So I had to learn about their gates, which a lot of the time are totally different than my gates, like, obviously. And then I'm speaking to their perspective of how, I'm taking the general idea of this is how the gate or the thing functions, and then here's how it would be applied to your scenario, right? And so as I would be speaking, and like, yes, I do understand, I'm even getting a little bit nauseous right now, not having eaten and speaking for a period of time. I think that's a natural response. But it's difficult because I'll get this jolt of inspiration and I have to make the video. I cannot go and eat something and I cannot go and do my workout because at the end of those two activities, I will no longer have the energy or the inspiration to make the video and it's not going to be as good. So I have to do it in this moment. But the thing that is going to be different at the end of this video versus the end of the video that I made for my brother and my friend, is that I'm not going to be exhausted. And I know it because every time I've made a video like this based on an inspired thought that I have or something that really resonates with me, and I'm speaking from my perspective and my experience, I am energized afterwards. Like I am like, I'll think about the video, I'll think about a certain part of the video that I've said, and I'll like feel that same energy like coursing through my body. And it just feels so phenomenal to have like had the idea, taken action on it, and then have that information like in the world, like even if it's just on my phone, but like even better to be like experienced by other people too. I think that's cool. But the thing that happened after those other videos was I was like so exhausted. I literally hit stop on the last video and barely made it through, by the way. Like, I'm like, okay, this is the last one. And I'm like, okay, and it's over. And I pressed stop and I literally laid on my floor and I was just like exhausted. I was finished. I laid there and I was like, every part of me, like mentally, physically, emotionally, zero. I was just done. And I'm like, that's a sign, you know? Like the fact that I was so exhausted that not only could I like not stand up and do anything, like that was just out of the question. The only thing I was actually even capable of doing was laying down. And I closed my eyes and I meditated and I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this for sure because I'm extremely depleted right now. And I actually don't feel like that was like enjoyable in the sense that if it was, I would feel better right now. And I think that it was nice for them, and I'm going to test it out one more time. I'm going to do one for my mom, but I know it's going to have the same result. And also what I know about that is I'm not meant to do readings. 100% not meant to do readings. So I think that's a really cool way of kind of discovering what is really for you, and to how to make things work for you, because I'm not going to go, oh, human design is not for me. I'm exhausted when I talk about it. That's not true. I'm exhausted when I talk about it and I make a video for another person. That's like a reading. That's what makes me exhausted. But I love talking about human design. I love talking about other charts, but in a conversation type setting, not in a I'm making a video and I'm putting all of my energy outside of myself. Like I want to make a video based on personal experience and based on things that I've learned. And then I want people that watch it to be able to extract that information and apply it to their own situations, like that lights me up. That like juices me and gives me energy, like you can just even tell as I'm talking about it, like that's the path for me to be going down. So I'm gonna end this video right here, and I hope that you were able to pull some things out of it that applied to you or your chart, or any similarities that we have. And I'm excited to have discovered this and to continue to move forward down this path. So have a lovely day.